Second here. And once again, you'll get those little pop-ups on your screen. See that all coming in now, and you're good to go. Have a good meeting.
Okay, thanks, Seth. All right, welcome everyone. It is Wednesday, May 24th. It is 6:30 p.m. and this is the Scituate Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. On March 29th, 2023, Governor Maura Healey signed into law a supplemental budget bill, which among other things extends the temporary provisions pertaining to the open meeting law, extending that to March 31st, 2025. This further extension allows public bodies, such as this committee, to continue holding meetings remotely without a quorum of the public body physically present at a meeting location, and to provide adequate and alternative access to remote meetings. So this meeting will be recorded by Scituate Community Television and can be viewed live on Scituate Community Television Facebook Live. The recorded meeting will be available the following day on Comcast Channel 9 and YouTube Scituate Community Television. I'm going to read our committee's commitment statement. This is a safe, secure space for all people, especially people of color, and for all underrepresented people and communities. This is a space where people can bring up challenges and questions without fear. We will assume best intentions and we will treat one another with politeness and respect at all times. This committee is dedicated to these standards. We want our members and others joining our meetings to feel welcomed and respected. Thank you. So I would like to call the meeting to order. Do I have a second? Thanks, Natasha. All right, I'll call the roll. Ms. Dre.
Yes.
Ms. Gilberti.
Yes.
Ms. Risha.
Yes.
Ms. Swope.
Yes.
Reverend Stewart.
Yes.
And I am a yes. Okay, excellent. Thank you once again, Temporary Secretary Silly Risha, for putting the minutes together. I did go through them. I don't have any comments. Does anyone else have any thoughts, comments, additions, revisions, anything from the April 18th meeting last month? Okay, good to go. I would like to propose that we accept the minutes. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thanks, Angela. Okay, I will call the roll. Ms. Dre.
Yes.
Ms. Gilberti.
Yes.
Ms. Risha.
Yes.
Ms. Swope.
Yes.
Reverend Stewart.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay. All right. Let's get into it. So liaison reports, community announcements. I don't know. So I don't see Maura. I think we all know at this point. I'm going to get into the incident in a second that I think everyone is aware of. School committee vote was Saturday. And Maria won handily. So there was a school committee, and then Susan Harrison was unopposed for select board. So those are the results there. I don't know if anyone has any other commentary there. Let's just jump right into it, I guess. So everyone's aware of the incident with the house on Hatherley Road. Yes. Okay.
Tom, so super vaguely, like I don't, but I'm sure you're going to get into it, but I'm not as familiar maybe with them as other.
Yes, I mean, mine is pretty vague too. I mean, I know basically what I sent the committee. You know, I was copied on a series of emails. Sorry, I'm just trying to find it. I was copied on a series of emails. Sorry, should have been more.
Do you want me to say something more about it, Tom?
Absolutely. I mean, it's I guess it was it was this past weekend where I first became aware of it. But yeah, I mean, Natasha, is this through your view as part of the Freedom Team?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, go
Yeah,
for
so
it.
we met last night. So the incident took place sometime between Saturday night and Monday morning when the owners of the house reported it. The house is being constructed right now, so no one's living there. But someone, maybe multiple people, came and they, broke windows and vandalized things inside the home, like a microwave and other things that were in process of being built and put together. They also wrote in spray paint a number of lewd comments. But the most disturbing, I think, is that there was a huge swastika spray painted on the part of the roof. So it was like 16 feet or something large. And it's being assumed that it was meant to be a swastika. If you see the actual image, it's not exact. They didn't do it right, say that, which makes it worse somehow. So we do know that the family is not Jewish. So just for whatever that's worth, thank you. There's the image.
That's the
I
image.
get all the lines right. And the police department, once they heard about this, has been investigating it. Obviously, they have their statements online. They've made a statement. The Scituate police have made a statement. The Scituate select board have made a statement, just that this kind of hate has no place here for us in Scituate, and that whoever's done this will, they hope to find them, and then there'll be charges for vandalism and that sort of thing that they did. And at the moment, they are not saying that they'll also charge for a hate crime because it's not clear what sort of the motives and things were, but that's just kind of because that's where they are in their investigation right now. So the Freedom Team, we met last night and discussed kind of what more we can do. There's not a Jewish temple here in Scituate. So the temple that most of our Scituate residents are members of is in Hingham. So they've been informed and told, which is kind of their protocol within their faith life. So they've been informed and are taking care of our Jewish brothers and sisters here in Scituate that are members of that temple. And then really like the rest of the discussion, the library too, sorry. The library has also already pulled resources and put them out about anti-Semitism and hate. And so that's kind of up. And the family that this happened to wants to remain anonymous, and they don't want this to be all about them, but what they hope will kind of come out of this is just some more education so that people are aware exactly how hurtful the swastika is to Jewish families, and just sort of generally how inappropriate this is all around. So that's kind of their hope. And I was hoping Jamil would be here to talk about his great idea, but it's not.
Mr. Adams is here. He's having a little bit of a difficulty with, is that up? There he goes. You're good.
Okay,
Sure.
so I'll let Jamil then talk about his great idea.
The one thing I was just going to say, Natasha, is that it was actually 3.5 weeks ago.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. It's right here.
All right, yeah, May, yeah.
And that was the frustration, I think, with the person that I think they posted something on Scituate Moms on Facebook,
Mhm.
of which I'm not a member. And I think there was some frustration that, yeah, this thing was, potentially between Saturday, May 6th and May 8th. And so my math is a little wrong. So not 3.5 weeks, but, some days ago, and there hadn't been any response from the town of Scituate. So that was my only addition to that. Hi, Jamil. How are you?
Hey, what's up? I'm trying to get off of my phone. I've been here for the whole time. I'm trying to get off of my phone so that I can, because my computer, the desktop is having issues. But I think I'm getting there. Um, just give me a second here. But to your point, that you were talking about 733. I think that's the code. From what I understand, it was in order, not in order, but in honoring the wishes of, oh, here we go. Honoring the wishes.
Jamil, we're just gonna unmute one of you and then you'll be fine. Let's find which one. We'll try that one.
Actually, unmute.
There you go. There you go.
There we go. I need my video. All right, here we go. Hey, all right. Hi, everybody. So, sorry for all that. So, from as I understand what was going on was that in honoring the person wanting to be anonymous and wanting to not have a lot of attention brought to the property itself and things like that, the investigation was already happening and ongoing. But just trying to respect some of those things. From as I understand, I know that the chief ever made in contact with folks and things like that. And so I guess that's just to speak to that piece. Because never was there a point where folks are like, we're just not going to do anything and that's going to happen kind of deal. And then I can share that the contact between myself, Jim Boudreau, Jim Boudreau, and Andrew, the select board chair. I think it's Andrew. Yep, we met and folks are all in terms of getting something out, making sure the language was what it could be and should be kind of thing. And so that went out. The chiefs went out. First, the chief had something ready and then just wanted to just some more eyes on it. So we looked at it and then that went out. Then quickly the town, meaning Jim and Andrew, were like, let's put something out. And so they got some language together and we were kind of wordsmithing that a little bit. That went out. And then on the heels of that, as mentioned I'm trying not to say everything that Reverend Stewart already said, but they have been in contact with the Anti-Defamation League. How that also came about was because a member of the team, the Freedom Team, had already had contacted the Anti-Defamation League as well, and the cancer out in Hingham too. And so the chief is actually in contact with them and speaking with them. In fact, the day we met together Monday. He had to step out to take that call with them and just telling them let them know what we were doing. And they kind of gave the thumbs up on our response thus far. Then let's see, what else was after that? So we did that. Then it was understood that I would meet with the Freedom Team last night because we called for just a special meeting for anyone that could be there so that it wasn't waited. So we didn't wait till our next meeting, which is not till June. And folks came together last night. And on the heels of that, a couple of things are happening there. Megan Summer is going to connect Reverend Stewart with the cantor out in Hingham. And that's for support, unity, community, and to see if there's some things that can happen there. Then beyond that, as mentioned already, the library has put some resources together, the one pager. I think, if I didn't send it to you all, I can send it once I'm done talking, I'll send it to folks. I thought it was has anyone seen it, the one pager? I know Reverend Stewart said, it's pretty good, right? I thought it was pretty good. Like what they put together is about this. It's about symbols of hate and just giving people information on it because we want folks to have an outlet for learning more and understanding what it is and what it isn't, kind of deal. Like I said, I'll send it to folks once I'm done talking. I'll cut and paste it and send it. Then let's see. Then the next piece was Renee Desresher, I believe I'm messing up her, butchering the last name, has offered to do counseling services for anyone, but also has a network of clinical clinicians that she can tap into to do services as well for anyone who wants to or wants to refer someone for it. Then the other piece was, and this is where I think Reverend Stewart paused, was for me to talk about this other idea, was to have some magnets that are in the shape of a heart that say Scituate is the love that hate can't stop. And then to have those passed out to folks, and there's an engine that creates almost a lot of energy around that, again, around love. Because this is based on when hate shows up, show more love, kind of thing. This is one example of that. And again, it's the shape of a heart and Scituate blue, and then it says Scituate is the love that hate can't stop. The team yesterday, the folks thought that was a good idea. There's a lot of good energy behind it. There was an option to either have it say Scituate love or Scituate is the love that hate can't stop. But folks are like, the Scituate love could be interpreted and misinterpreted. So folks locked in on the one I just shared with folks. Then Jim, we were talking about funding for it and how that could happen. And then Jim was going to look into that for all I know. He may still be looking into it, but may have paused, because since then, Reverend Stewart and the good folks in the congregation have offered to pay, I guess, the initial cost to get those magnets produced and done. And so the last message I got from Reverend Stewart was, tell us what we need and how much, that kind of thing. So that's just good energy and good community coming together to make something happen. I've seen this have really strong impact on the community. And what happens is sometimes it evolves into other things. Like I've seen it evolve into the heart itself being one color. Ironically, it was blue. And then it evolved into pride colors. And then to a purple for awareness on addiction, then black as well. And so, but it all was love, versions of love and things like that. And so an idea yesterday from the team was to perhaps get some scholar artists to create some new versions of it at some point. Folks were saying, well, maybe right now, but I was saying maybe let's do this one, and then later on we can get the scholar artists involved in making them. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, everything that's where we're at with it right now. So just a quick bullet point piece is the statement from the police, the statement from the town, our team, Reverend Stewart, and being in contact with the cantor. And who knows, it may come from that kind of thing. There may be some other things that we can do coming from that. Oh, the other thing was, it was suggested that maybe we add the cantor from Hingham to the Scituate Freedom Team, because there are Jewish families in Scituate, but as Reverend Stewart noted, there is no temple here. And so initially there was unanimity on that, but we just to show respect to the team, we just want to bring it to the team first and then talk about it and see what's up there. The only other thing I want to add is that there's a possibility, it's not confirmed, a possibility that an op-ed may be written. And that the encouragement was for the op-ed to be of the energy that's of love and community building and bringing folks together kind of thing. And so to that end, whatever conversation may have outcomes between Reverend Stewart and the cantor may find its way into it, if that happens. It hasn't been completely, well, we're talking about Michelle Rama might write something, but she didn't say quite, I'm gonna do it kind of deal. But we'll see what happens. So I think that's everything right now. The responses have been pretty positive, have been pretty fast. And to bring this all to our group tonight, it was just how wild it is that the universe works this way. This was scheduled, and we were able to come together and share these things. But what do folks think of the ideas and what's happening, the magnets and the connection between Reverend Stewart and the cantor and things like that?
I think it's great. That you're able to come together so quick. I mean, it's too bad we have to have a freedom team, but if you think back when we first started talking about the freedom team, it was, I want to say it was in response to the Chinese restaurant. And the fact that, there wasn't a mechanism really outside of the police, and, the police are doing their job, not insinuating that they're not, but to have, a group of citizens that can rally around when something like this occurs. And I think the magnet, button, sticker, whatever it happens to be, yeah, I could totally see something like that just, growing legs and taking on a life of its own in a good way. So I think it's great. I do have a question. So you mentioned that, Jim, Bedreau, and Andrew, got together, put out a statement. I haven't seen that statement. So I'm curious how it went out. Even the police statement, right? I saw it on Twitter.
It all went out on Facebook only, so you have to look
Oh,
for
really?
it. Yeah, I also think that's a bit of a disappointment. Like, it should have been in some other avenues, because there's lots of people who don't have Facebook, or I don't follow the police on Facebook.
Or just don't like Facebook.
Yeah, I'm not on it, but I can definitely share that with folks. Unless y'all want to, but I can do that, definitely.
Yeah, I was expecting it to come through like the email. Not everyone gets the town emails, but I think that's the direct communication from the town. So I think, going forward, that would be, a good suggestion for them to just share it there as well as Facebook. But I think that the town email.
Yeah, I mean, there's 4,500 email subscribers.
Yeah.
That would get disseminated. That's pretty good, right? So.
And then I think when people get those emails, they talk about them with other people. So like,
Correct.
4,000 get it and they all talk to one, that's 8,000. That's like half the town knows now, right? I mean, with no effort. So, yeah.
I think too, just as it relates to the optics of the communication channel, we email there's tons of emails about storms, right? But an incident of hate it doesn't look like it rises to the level of importance of a storm, right? And I'm not saying that it does or does not, and I don't think that at all that was the intention, but I was going to say I haven't seen anything either. Sounds like there's great things happening, but haven't seen them. So I think both the message and the channel is really important.
Yeah, and I can make that recommendation tomorrow.
I was gonna ask, do you want?
Sent it through the email chain.
All right, so Bob, you'll do the outreach on that, or?
Yeah, I'll follow up with the town administrator on that. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So
Jamil, when did the Facebook post go out? Was that?
Today's what's today?
Today?
Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
So yesterday, right? I think it was yesterday.
It was
Okay.
yesterday, yeah.
All right.
Well, yeah. We met on Monday. I think it was Monday. It might have been Monday because we met on Monday. Yeah, I think it was Monday that it went out.
And the other thing that Jim often does is it'll be Monday mornings. He also does the a weekly sort of live update. So I don't know if I'm assuming that post was probably developed after I think it's 9 a.m. He does the weekly update. So I don't know if he intends to also speak about it on at his Monday update, but I would assume so.
Yeah, no, we didn't meet our meeting wasn't until 11.
Yeah, okay.
On Monday.
Yeah, I see it on the Scituate Police Facebook page.
Oh, you see both of them, Tom?
2 days ago, so it was Monday. It went up on Monday.
Yeah, but I don't even know what the town page is. There's a Scituate town page, but it hasn't had an update since like a couple of years. So.
But maybe it's I'm not on Facebook again, but maybe it's the Scituate Town Facebook page or something.
Right.
Thing.
Yeah, and it's been shared a lot. I know Scituate Community Television shared it, and some other groups shared it on Facebook. I do want to say I think
Here it is. I found it.
I think there was great ideas with the magnets, Jamil. One thing that I thought right away, and to your point earlier, is obviously showing support and community and unity. So when I drive around other towns, one of the things that I remember seeing in the past was those signs
no place for hate. You
Mhm.
know, I think it would be nice for the town to have visible signs to put on the town, property, when these incidents happen immediately, put the sign up, because people are going to hear about such a negative, horrific act. So what they should have, what I think is nice for them to see visually right away is a sign that condemns that,
Mhm.
So I just think if, that's something that perhaps the town could look into. I don't know if that's a specific organization that you have to be a part of, or we can craft, even the sound with the language that Scituate, the same information that's on the magnet, but maybe a sign, a lawn sign that we can put, yeah. But I think that's
Scituate
nice.
is the love that hate can't stop. Yeah, that piece. So my question is the SDEIC, I know there's no budget for it, but is there a thing that says that this group can't do that? Like we can't say, you know what, we want 50 signs and we'll figure out where they're gonna go that say this, that we put up somewhere. What are the parameters of this committee in terms of doing it? In my mind, it absolutely can do it, but unless you're telling me something else.
I mean, typically it would be a recommendation to the select board to actually take that action, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those types of things, I feel that we typically have to run them by
Okay.
Maura, right? So for example, there was something, it's probably over a year ago, where different, I think it was in response to Pembroke standing up and then quickly dissolving their DEI committee within their town, and it got pretty ugly in Pembroke. And so there were some, surrounding communities were all like signing a pledge, it was an online thing. You could put your name to it. And I think I blindly put Scituate DEIC to it. And I think I was told I couldn't do that. So I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. There was some mechanics thing, protocol thing that I skipped.
I remember that. I think because I was on the emails because I'm on the SSUC thing.
Yeah.
I think what it was is you had to run it past some people beforehand, and then that didn't happen, so they had to remove the name as well, our SDIC. But I thought ultimately it ended up back on there. No,
I think it did. Yeah, I think it did. I'd have to dig through that email back and forth. So
I just keep coming back to that we're an advisory board, right? We're not the action board, we're the advisory. So we're advising the select board on actions they should take, but it's not our job to take them.
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, I mean, I would like to advise the select board, like right now, to take their statement and email it to the town. I mean,
and I think we should advise them to buy those signs. I think those signs are great, Angela. I was told by someone today that they remembered when they were younger living here in Scituate that there was like a campaign that was like no place for hate, and everyone had yard signs that said that. So like, can we kind of bring that back again? Because that seems like a good thing to do.
I remember just early on when we first formed, we were throwing out a ton of ideas on the different things that we could do. And one of the thoughts that kind of struck me that I just recall was the idea of actually distributing those to a lot of the local businesses so that they would have that in, a sign like that. I don't know if it's no place for hate or something similar where it would be posted at each of the businesses, or as many as we can get, so that a visit is coming into town and they get that message, they get that, they begin to understand that perhaps is the culture of the place. What's interesting too is that, Scituate being such a sort of, predominantly white community, but the reality is if you go down to the harbor on any day, you see a lot of people who, people of color, and often they're the people who are actually, they may be working in the town, they may be, and they're here for other business, but they're actually engaging with us, and they're actually, visiting our businesses. So, so that's also the target audience. But you know, I love the idea, and I just wonder beyond, Angela, you mentioned doing it at public buildings, whether or not it's something a campaign to kind of do that more broadly, you know, with some of the community businesses as well, so.
Bob, would that then go through the Scituate Chamber of Commerce, or is there a
Yeah.
relationship between the Freedom Team and somebody at the chamber? I know at least my chamber where I work, we have an economic inclusion arm and DEI initiatives. I don't know if the local one here, it's smaller, obviously, does anything, but
You know, and the town has a specific economic development committee too.
yeah.
That, you know, and the chair of that committee, I think, is also works closely with the local chamber of commerce, I believe. So, and I've had conversations with her, and I think she's on board with a lot of our efforts, and she seems particularly interested in some of the stuff that we're doing. So I think that you know, they may be welcoming of that.
I know someone who's on the Scituate Chamber of Commerce, and I'm sure she would be happy to help us and support us getting this out.
Right. I just wanted to add on to, just to remind folks, the Freedom Team by design isn't sanctioned, but for the very reason, like Reverend Stewart being a part of it, somebody on the team can find a connection to any town people that we need to. So that was that.
I also just wanted to say that, so in June, the person who heads up our Scituate clergy is leaving, and so take a new job. And so I'm replacing her. So in my idea of reaching out to the cantor is not just on behalf of the Episcopal Church, but it's on behalf of all of the churches here in Scituate. So it's my hope that however we can partner, it will be like across the board, not just the Episcopal Church doing it. I'm kind of doing that with my soon to be new hat on, in hopes that that can be a community effort to make it clear that they're just as welcome and just a part of our community as everyone else, even though we don't have an actual temple here in town.
That's great. Okay.
For just to throw out there, probably I'm speaking out of turn. Thanks for giving me some leeway here. For Bob tomorrow at the meeting, and the one thing is clear on advising the email to be sent out through email, but the other piece regarding the lawn signs, for him to what wasn't clear is, do we want the lawn signs to say no place for hate, or the same thing as the magnets, which is Scituate is the love that hate can't stop. Is there some feeling on that, or? Because it'd be helpful if he has what he's going to say, what he folks want to say.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking the no place for hate. Angela actually had a good question. I'm not sure if that's an organization, or I'm not sure. I've seen that, and I think it's a consistent sign. So I don't know if that's like more of a kind of more of a project than a kind of immediate response that we can have. I don't know if we have to kind of research that a little bit, but yeah.
Well, I think there's signs, right? Because I've seen the signs, right? I can't remember. It was like Cohasset. I think there were some signs after the anti-Semitic thing down in Duxbury with the football team, and I believe signs sprung up. And then I think the other thing is, and we've all seen them I've seen them in restaurants in Boston, New York, Martha's Vineyard.
A quick Google shows that it's part of the ADL.
Like stickers in restaurant windows.
Yeah, ADL does it. So, I mean, not that we couldn't, get them from them or something, but ADL that's their thing.
Yeah.
That's what Google says, actually.
Yeah. I looked them up, and there's it's a committee, so they're standalone organizations, and right now there's a website, and it shows the various towns: Abington, Braintree, Carver, Duxbury. Scituate is not listed. Hanover, Hull, and then there's an email to reach out if you want more information. But the big, the header on the page is America's hometown, Plymouth, Massachusetts, no place for hate. That's what they have. I think it's definitely worth, looking into to see, like, Tom said, can we just get a sign? If it's not exactly, that same statement, but another statement like Jamil. So I guess, do we need to find out who would pay for the sign? Do we recommend it, the select board to, or do we go to the Chamber of Commerce? Do we go to other groups in town? I think we need to figure that out, who would cover the cost.
And by signs, we're saying like yard signs, right?
The yard signs, yeah,
Scituate, no place for hate.
or something like that, yeah.
It's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, is it clear, again, is it clear from that website, is it that, an organization of a municipality purchases a bunch of signs and then has a system for distributing them, or, people collect them? I mean, what's the sort of process that we see? I think in terms of the email tomorrow, I think really it was just taking whatever was posted on Facebook and, and asking the town administrator to cut and paste that into an email to everyone. So I think we can get that done relatively easily, but then what's the next step in terms of these other ideas?
Yeah, Jamil, I wonder if the Freedom Team could be the organization that would be connected with the No Place for Hate, because it's either affiliated with the town or just a standalone organization.
Yeah, because I mean, if this was a year ago, I would have said, can we get Stride to run with it?
Well, I don't have any issue with that. My face is I'm trying to understand. I'm just gonna say where my heart is at with this. I think sometimes we have an amazing ability to complicate things. At some point, someone said, not us, but just humans. At some point, someone said, you know what? No place for hate. We're gonna put this up somewhere, and folks got together and put it up, and then it became a thing. Like today, we decided we were gonna do the hearts and the magnets. We'll get it out there, and that will happen. So I don't know if we're overthinking this or making it more than it needs to be, and just saying, you know what, we want to do this. Let's go. It's the type of thing where you make people tell you no, kind of deal. Like if Bob wants to go tomorrow and say, look, we want to do this. Can we find some funds to just do this thing? Let's make it happen. Because what happens is, like when Angela was talking about the Freedom Team, I'm like, can we not? Because I'm like, well, we're not sanctioned, but we could. But then a part of me just kicked in, like, of course we can. But signs, we can make it happen. Why not do it? Why can't we do it? Kind of deal. And so I just wanted to share that energy with it. In my mind and in my heart, any one of, if the town wanted to do it, they could do it. This group could say, even though it's advisory, we could say, let's do it. In the same way that I think that Reverend Stewart was like, I don't know, something hit Reverend Stewart, and by, I don't know what time he sent me the email, sent us the email, was like, we'll take care of it. And I was like, all right, I don't know if there's any parameters around that. I didn't hear anything from anyone saying we can't take it from the church because it's this, that, and the third. At some point, we'll have some, because I went and found out where to get the order from. I'll have some numbers for you soon. Reverend Stewart, we'll see what's up. And then we'll have them, and then we'll figure out how we're going to distribute them and all that kind of stuff. It's just that kind of thing. It's not so much who's going to do it, more so than who's going to do it, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I don't know, but I understand there's rules governing things and stuff like that.
Well, there's
Well,
no
I want to
rules
jump in
regarding
here
getting
just
the
because I
sign,
was
putting
able
it
to find the
in
mute. Oh,
Sorry, Angela.
can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, it's Kate. Yeah, go.
Sorry. Sorry to be in the car. I think to Jamil's point, if the Freedom Team runs with this, our advice could be support it. That the town should support it and help with distribution. And it could be that simple, and then we just go. And if, the no place for hate, those signs, if that sign already exists, then maybe, you know, just ordering those is the simplest thing. Or Jamil, if you want to run with your idea, that sounds great as well. I think we sort of pick one and the Freedom Team runs with it. And then our recommendation is that the select board should support it and help with promotion.
Like my thing is if a town member, a community member said with 10 other community members, we're gonna go and get some signs that say, this is not a place for hate. They wouldn't go through any of this, right? They would just get them and put them up.
Right.
So my thing is that not, we can't do a version of that? Not just do it, but it can't be that box says, hey, we want to do this. Last night we met,
Yeah.
the SDIC met, and we know the Hearts things are coming, and this is coming, and along with putting the email out, we want to go back to a time, not go back, but we want to reintroduce an energy that we had a while ago that what folks had signs up, and we want to get those signs that say Scituate is not a place for hate. Hey, can the town do that?
Yeah, no, I think we can. I mean, so I'm just trying to make sure I understand exactly what is the ask, right? So are we basically saying I tried to Google that. I mean, I know you had it on the screen there for a second, but I tried to Google the website. There's a lot there, but is it as simple as saying, we like those signs that say no place for hate, we want to order, I don't know, let's figure out a number, right? And to find a way to let residents know that we have these available, come pick them up at the DPW office. That's easily done. I think we can easily pull that off. I just want to make sure I understand what exactly it is we want to do and what was, that's, I guess, what I'm sort of getting at. I think they're probably not expensive. They're probably easy to get, and they're probably easy to distribute, but I just want to make sure we're all on the same page about like how we see this kind of playing out. And again, back to, whether or not we want to do that sign or the one that Jamil and Natasha had spoken of. So I think we could pull it off. It's just what exactly is it that we want to do?
I think I've been looking a little more at their website, and it looks like it's a whole education piece that goes along with it. It's based for schools actually, which is fantastic to have all that education to go along with it. But if we're looking for like signs, I'm not sure that's like, maybe the road we want to go on. So maybe the best thing, Jamil, to uncomplicate this is for the Freedom Team to do both like hearts and then also make some signs that say the same thing as the hearts, and just kind of have a bit, and distribute.
Do you guys remember
with the support of DEI?
The peace flags
Yeah.
that took on a life of its own, and that was just community members, right? You could buy them. Like I go to board 143 a lot. You could buy them there. You could buy them wherever, right? And they were free with a $20 donation. I don't know what that probably just paid for the cost or whatever. Now, granted, that took an individual or a group of individuals with some organizing skills to go ahead and do that, but that caught on like wildfire. Like, they were all over the place to the point where
I still see them all over the place, like flying everywhere. So
yeah, exactly. So I mean, I think that's
the idea behind the hearts, is something like that again. So I wonder if we could just do that with the signs too, and I think that would majorly uncomplicate the whole like joining a special program and getting town approval for things and all of that. Like,
I would agree.
And it's nice to have the consistency of it. You know what I mean? If you have the sign and then the button as well, I think it's nice to have that same language.
And ultimately unique to Scituate too, which is nice.
Yeah, there's a part of me that says that, and I've forwarded this a few different times. The email distribution list from the Hingham Unity Council. They're pretty organized. And just looking at their website right now, I wouldn't be surprised if over time that they've had signs like this. So I think there are resources that we could tap into. Okay. So, I mean, just from an action standpoint, the quick one is that, Bob, you're gonna reach out to Jim Bedrow or someone of that ilk, right, tomorrow, and see if we can get a town mailing, right? So,
Yeah.
awesome.
And I'll also, even in terms of, whatever we come up with the sign, or I could also speak to him about using the same. I mean, we have a really useful vehicle for communicating to residents through that email. I mean, it's whatever we said, what was it, 4,000 people? And so if we want to, I can also propose to him that we use that same system for distributing the availability of, of the signs, if that's what we want to, if we get to that point. So I can have that conversation as well, so the town can kind of play a role in at least communicating, and then potentially, distributing if it comes to that.
But there is a part of me that says that the town isn't gonna go for that.
Is what?
As far as like the town of Scituate, procuring signs and distributing them. I don't know, there's a part, and this isn't a shot at the town. I just think that, I don't know, it might be better done by activists.
So, but this is what I'm saying.
Do you agree, Jamil? I mean, that's kind of like,
Well, activist is it's a, what does that term mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We'll get into that.
that's
But
just what I came up with.
again, I'm just saying,
Community members.
if this group right here was like, you know what? Hey, let's each put $25 in and we want to go get some signs. Then it can happen. So to this point, Reverend Stewart, I just got a figure sent from my partner just telling me what it was. It was $700 for 1,000 magnets. So, if we do 2,000, that's $1,400. If we do, and maybe it's a sliding scale, maybe we do 2,000, it's less than 1,400, maybe that's 1,100. I don't know. But the original for $700.
Yeah, how many 2,000 are?
Huh?
Find out how many 2,000 are. We can do 14. Easy.
All right, so we'll find that out. So we got that. Like, is it bad? That's the wrong word, because I'm putting pressure on folks. Is it I'm having a vocabulary moment. Is it that questionable that this committee, I keep wanting to say council, it's a council committee, that this committee would want to have something like this happen? It seems to make sense in my head and heart that it could come from this group and it'd be fine. Although it's advisory, I get it. But for this group to say, we want this thing to happen, and then either decide to do it on its own, but realize there's parameters because it's a sanctioned organization by the town, or to say to the town, look, we would like to do this. How can we support each other in this happening? Kind of deal. Because there's something to it to be said that, the SDIC and the town work together and we're doing this thing. You know what I mean? Something to be said for that.
So
I don't know.
I hate to put everything on Bob, but yeah, so that maybe that should just be our first stop. I mean, the town email, okay, that directive is going to be pretty simple. And then secondly, can the town, we can work with them. Can the town help us procure, distribute, etc., some version of Scituate No Place for Hate type of sign,
Right.
And put it on the website, and people they can be free. It can be $10, whatever it is. And then that's just a yes or no. If they say, no, we can't do that, then we go to plan B.
Right.
Yeah, get Reverend Stewart to say, hey, you got more money? I don't know.
That's what I was thinking.
You know,
Yeah, sorry, if folks say no, I'm sure there's a reason for it. It won't be because they don't want to do it. I don't believe that was why they would say no. But then there's other means. Maybe it becomes this thing people can purchase kind of deal. So I don't know. Sorry about my.
yeah, I mean, we are, obviously, we're an advisory committee, and that's particularly when we're talking about procedures or policies of the town. But there's certainly things that we've done. I mean, we wanted to do, gender neutral bathrooms, and I just talked to the facility director and we just went and did it, And so, not everything has to be in the form of a recommendation to the select board. We can take some action with some stuff. So, I may be talking out of turn. I may go to the town administrator and he says, no, I think that's, outside the scope of what the town should be doing for whatever reason, and we have to look at Plan B. But, there's nothing stopping me from asking. So, I can do that and at least like get a sense of sort of where the town stands with this. I would hope we'd be able to do it, but if not, I think we have some other options for how we can get it done. So I can certainly, take that next step.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Anything else on that topic? We've beaten up better part of an hour, but
I just want to say thanks to everyone for just really being willing to take the journey on a conversation about it, and to just do it in a way where we can have discourse and still be cool at the end of it. And you know what I mean? So I just appreciate that, because that doesn't always happen. So I just want to say thanks to everybody.
Absolutely.
No, thank you. Thank you. All right. Jamil, anything else you want to touch on just in your public schools and Juneteenth celebration, 3rd annual, right?
Yeah, that would be it. The second one, June 19th.
Second one in person, right?
Yeah, second one in person. And it's, it's the second year that it's nationally recognized. So that's going to happen. Gates, 1 o'clock. There'll be representation from all the elementary school, actually all levels of the school. So that's great. And then there'll be a step show from another step show. We're going to bring back it's annual at this point, Soul Train line.
I have to practice then because it was embarrassing last year.
That was fun.
That was great. Yeah.
So now we're doing that. And then that's it. Our last lit team meeting is tomorrow at Hadley. So students are, kind of, but they get it. So that was good. That's it for now. We're working on some things with the equity audit, which has been really helpful, so that you should see some things coming through that relatively soon. Oh yeah, the launch of the reimagined DEI web page will soon come forward. So we got has a new look to it. It's been received a facelift. So that's coming.
Great. All right, thank you. All right, so I don't want this meeting to go too long tonight because it's my daughter's birthday.
Hey, happy birthday.
To be selfish. So in terms of I'll just speak on my own. So I didn't do anything with regard, I had an action item last time to try to get a meeting with our subset project team with social services and Board of Health. And, we specifically talked a bit about Erica Soros and potentially driving towards a recommendation that gets her some help within social services. I did take the action item at about 6:15 p.m. tonight by sending Bob an email saying, oh yeah, I do this. Can we get a meeting with Erica? So we're going to try, I think, Bob, you sent an email back. We're going to try for something the week of June 5th. So I will circle back on that with, I believe, Natasha and Kate. And I'll let you know what that date looks like. And if we can all attend that meeting, that's great. If it's a subset, we'll roll forward. So that's my update on that. Do we have any updates on DPW or SPD or anything else that's we've been able to make progress on in the last 3-4 weeks. No, okay. All right, so the idea here is, so at least, so with the one that I've been, you know, focused on, again, not necessarily in the last month, but I do think we're getting close. You know, we put out the PowerPoints using Elena's template. So we have to dust those off and steamroll towards, we probably missed another month now to get in front of the select board. I think we were going to try to target June. So maybe right after our next meeting, if we are able to make progress, and it doesn't have to be all three of the subset of all three of the project teams, but even if we have one and we can get back in front of the select board, it's been a while since we've been in front of the select board to, you know, if we have a couple of recommendations, great. If it's more of a status, that's great too. Especially now that, you know, there's not a wholly reconstituted select board, but Tony Vignani did step down after 16 years. Incredible service from Tony, and now we have a new select board member, and it'd be good to get in front of her, Susan. All right. I guess the only other thing that I will bring up briefly, I have had some conversations. I've talked to Angela, and I had a sidebar about this. And then I actually had a conversation with Tony Vignani about it as well, because I think Tony has had conversations over the years. So it's with Craig Diaz, Stockbridge Road, specific to Greenbush, and some of the issues I think that they've had over the years with the old, and I'm going to butcher some of the names. Actually, I have a bunch of notes because I talked to Craig for a long time, a few weeks back. So it's the old, I want to call it the Stockbridge landfill, or the Stockbridge dump, which he feels that there's some issues with the land over there. It is the area over there. There's certain areas or certain pockets of Scituate over near Greenbush that are heavily populated by people of Cape Verdean descent. There's been an ask for sidewalks over the years. I don't know all the history, but if you drive down Stockbridge from, you know, let's say, you know, you take the left if you're going towards the new development at the Greenbush commuter rail stop, you know, take that left down Stockbridge. There's no sidewalks, and there's been, I think there have been some safety issues over the years. There's probably a couple miles of road, no sidewalks, and then they pick up about halfway down. So that's a conversation that I had with Craig, and I am going to follow back up with him. But I've been very busy at work, so I haven't been able to do that. If anyone has any questions on that, let me know.
So you just reminded me, because I have to go back and read what you sent, but is the issue primarily accessibility in that area, or were there other things rolled into the concerns?
It's accessibility, but it's also,
And being heard, I think, is like another big thing.
yeah, he feels that there is some environmental, I'm gonna get this wrong, environmental discrimination, basically.
Was there some question about hazardous materials
Yes,
and a request for maybe an environmental review or something like that?
that's right. And he's gotten a lot of different people involved in this. And I just don't know where it stands. And this is definitely something where, you know, I'm not necessarily sure, given our charge, what we can or can't do for him. And because he has spoken to a number of members of the select board over the years, Jim Bedreau, other areas of town, probably DPW, you name it. There's a lot of backstory here that I'm trying to educate myself on. And Angela helped me too, because I think Angela goes way back.
Yeah, there's a couple things. Stockbridge was the location of the original dump years ago. I don't remember the 60s, 70s. There was a landfill there, and that's when everything got thrown. Yeah. So there's definitely some issues there and concerns, which I would believe the town would already have dealt with, because there's newer developments. There's been a lot of newer developments.
That's right.
And as far as the sidewalk, what happened was Greenbush has changed quite a lot in the last 20 years, 30 years. There's a lot of newer homes that were built, and sidewalks were added to those newer homes. I don't know if that was the builder or the town. Sometimes those things happen when there's new development. So the issue with the sidewalk is the older part of Stockbridge, where are still the smaller, homes that have been there, 70 years, 80 years. So when Tom and I talked, and obviously our job as the DI committee is to advise the select board, and one of the things is perception of the community. So there is a perception in the community that certain areas do not get the same resources, whether that's 100% valid or not, but the perception is there. So what can the town do? I know Celia, in your evaluation with your subcommittee, what the DPW, one of the things that we said there's an issue with the town in general is communication, is the residents knowing what's going on and why decisions are made. So is Stockbridge Road on a list somewhere, and they just don't know when that's going to happen. So I think there's a couple things going on. What is the town doing? And is that information getting down to the residents so they don't feel like they're getting ignored and their voices aren't heard? So that's definitely something our committee can help. As far as the other environmental things, I think that's a big, more complex issue that I'm not sure how we can really assist, because that's, goes up to the state, and there has been, a lot of research and different things there. But yeah, obviously we want to make ourselves available to hear the concerns of the folks in our community, in our town, so we can advise the select board.
Yeah, I mean, I just looked at my notes, and I had written down while I was talking to Craig, what does he need from us in the town? And I wrote two things. I wrote sidewalks, both, in Stockbridge and I think Jenkins Place. Can't remember if Jenkins Place has sidewalks or not, but that's something that we'd have to look at.
Place was like a one-way road, but again, a lot of changes to that area of Greenbush when Untold Brewery came in. Some things, some developments there, depending on who buys the property, they have engaged with some of the communities. I've spoken to the folks that live in Jenkins Place, and they've said, so-and-so bought this property. He came over, talked to, the neighbors, and but a lot of it is just being informed of what's going around and what decisions are being made and who's making those decisions. That, the town, a lot of it though, because I'm realizing there is a lot of information available.
Yeah.
In the residents. So I'm on all the mailing lists now, so I'm getting the town mail, but the town does put information out. It's the same issue with some folks say that, they don't know what lit means, in the schools. I know what it means, the information's there. So there is that, folks aren't knowing where to get the information that is made available to them.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, I think the area that where we might be able to, it's not even making recommendations, just are they on a list for sidewalks? I don't think they are. I don't think there's a big sidewalk. That's just based on the sidebar that I had with Tony, right? Because I did ask him about it, and he said sidewalks are very expensive. He's not sure where certain neighborhoods stand in the pecking order there. If there's any sidewalk projects going on in Scituate right now, I don't know.
From what when Celia and I had talked to DPW, and from what you can actually see it on the town website. I think there's sort of guidelines on how they determine if a sidewalk, how they prioritize sidewalks and how they determine if a sidewalk would be repaired or not. But that's a few years back. I forget what the year was, like 2017, maybe, I'm thinking. But I from the research I had done, I haven't seen like a list of, what are the priorities, an ongoing running list of the sidewalks to be repaired. I don't think that I'm not sure that necessarily exists, but yeah.
Okay.
Bob, I'll follow up with you because I'm looking at our notes from the last meeting, and we were gonna, before putting forward the DPW notes to the select board, you and I think we're gonna circle back with Kevin just
Right.
to share our takeaways, so we can just loop this in.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. I wanted to just convey that. Maybe a little side thing that's going on. All right. Next meetings. You can see them in the agenda. So the next one up is June 20th. Hopefully that works for everybody. If it doesn't, send me a note. And then I can't think to July yet. So does anyone have any other business that they would like to discuss? All right, so with that, I would like to call for the meeting to be adjourned. Do I have a second? Jamil, Christina, okay, thank you.
No, I don't count. I don't.
Oh,
I don't
Jamil.
I
Jamil's
just
a
had a
question.
question.
Yes, go for it.
Not that I don't count, but you get it. The 20th is the last day of school. I just want to mention that.
Okay,
So I don't know if it changed anything about it, but that's all.
I'm not in school anymore, so I'm good. So
So Jamil will be out partying that night. I think that's what he's trying to tell us.
that's all right. That's all right. Yeah, no problem with that. Yeah. Okay, so I will call the meeting. Call the roll. Ms. Dre,
Yes.
Ms. Gilberti,
Yes.
Ms. Risha,
Yes.
Reverend Stewart,
Yes.
Ms. Swope.
Yes.
And I am a yes, so I will call the meeting closed at 7:37 p.m. Thanks, everyone.
I'd like you all to
Thank
know I'm
you.
driving on
Bye,
Stockbridge right
everyone.
now.
You're in Stockbridge?
Are you?
Yeah.
Taking a look?
Thanks for commuting with me.
All right,
Our
thanks, everyone.
carpooling.
Bye-bye.